Well, hi, everybody. This is Mark Silverman here once again, and we're still working on a beautiful constraint. And as I said before, I'm interviewing people who have hit challenges in their lives and have actually used that as a springboard to catapult themselves further, even further than they were before. The interesting thing is my guest here that I'm going to be talking to, Dave Schwendiman. I don't even know if I say your name right.
You just added R in, which is great, Schwendiman. But
Schwendiman.
Everyone always adds in R's or L's. It's a
every time I talk about you, I say, Dave Schwendiman. Everybody goes, yeah, I know he is, the guy with the Superman. Yeah, I know him. Anyway, so I at the exact time that I was getting my surgery, Dave hit a challenge himself. So he's early in the challenge, and I love talking to him now because he's a mindset coach. He's a brilliant strategist, and he already knew how to hit the ground with the best mindset and intentions. So I wanted Dave to talk to us about what he's been going through from the time this happened to now, and see how we can fit this into the Beautiful Constraint format. And for me, again, resiliency is what's so important. So Dave, would you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself? And I'll put your contact information in the comments so people can get in touch with you when they fall in love with you after this.
Perfect. So I am a perpetual, graduated from college, read this book that some people have heard of called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, announced to my future wife on a beach. We had gotten married right after college, announced to her on a beach on our honeymoon that I was going to be turning down all the jobs I had lined up, and I was going to start my own business, which was incredibly exciting and terrifying at the same time. So that was back in 2006. I think that all started. And since then I've been an entrepreneur, not successfully, but I've started a lot of businesses that are all mostly gone at this point. Failed a bunch, and in 2010 lost a construction company. Back then no one was hiring, the economy was total shit, so I couldn't get hired. Insurance company I found on Craigslist was looking for new agents, and I applied for an interview, and it turned out that the key to landing this position was showing up for the interview, and I nailed that and got the job. And I was in sales and had no idea what I was doing. Made no money for 2 months. I was already broke. Mom and dad were supporting us, which is not fun at 28, 29 years old to have your parents paying your bills. And I was determined to make this thing work. And I, through trial and error, just kind of, as Steve Chandler might say, I reinvented myself. I just studied good salespeople and invented a character who was good at selling, became decent and then more than decent at selling insurance. That took me down a road to working with corporate, training others, fell in love with coaching along that way because that was part of my job. And then in 2014, at the end of it, quit that corporate job to start coaching full-time, really focusing on helping people make money in a way that was sustainable and fun and felt good to them, because I had none of those things when I was learning to sell. I didn't have any of that. And so I learned to bring that in and found it so much more profitable than the techniques and manipulation I was trained to do. I decided I wanted to take this out and help others do it. So that's been the last 3.5 years of my life is just doing that kind of work.
And you wrote a book?
I wrote a book. Yeah, that was interesting. I never planned to do that. I just accumulated all this stuff.
Tell us the name of your book.
Oh, yeah. So it's Selling from the Top of the Ladder is the name of the book. I don't have any copies on me, which is great marketing. But that's the name of the book. And it really just came from me taking all the lessons I got. I taught myself things I'd learned through coaching and what works with my clients. And I just mashed it all together into a short book, real short chapters, just to give somebody tools they could use and learn and take out and make money. Too many of my self-help books behind me, you've got to read the whole thing before you kind of get like enough of it to make money with it. I wanted to write a book where you could read a chapter over a cup of coffee in the morning, go out and earn money that day using the ideas. So that was kind of fun to do. Just fun to have something out there in the world that can help even when I'm not the one on the phone with the person.
Yeah, great. I fell in love with you in an interview you did with Steve Chandler.
Yeah,
the godfather of coaching.
Yeah,
and this was before you wrote the book, and you were talking about the concepts of how to sell, whether you're a coach, whether you're an insurance salesman, whether you're real estate, doesn't really matter. And I just found the whole thing so brilliant and so natural to being a human being.
Yeah,
that was great. So I just wanted to get that in before we come to the tragedy, because I know you as CrossFit guy with biceps of steel. And by the way, I brought
Oh, thank you.
Our mutual friend Rich Lippman gave these to me.
That's great.
Last time we were together, and because our other friend Steve Hardison likes to hang a flag of whoever comes to visit.
Right.
This is my flag for you.
That's great.
So tell me, because that was your identity, was being Superman and indestructible, and then this happens. Tell me what happened.
Yeah, so CrossFit, I fell in love with that sport when I moved to Bend here where I live now. Just tried it out. Turns out I'm decent at it. Competitive. I like to go to the competitions. This last year, I was ranked, I think I was in the 97th percentile in the world. So like I was 900 and something out of 44,000 athletes in the world. So really like finally feeling like this thing has taken off. And then it's been, today's Thursday. It's been a month exactly, I think. A month today or tomorrow. I was in the gym doing not a crazy workout, just a normal workout. And I was doing a kettlebell swing where you just take a heavy kind of a kettlebell, you swing it up in the air. And on my third rep, I felt something happen. I'm not even sure what it was. Just I had a crazy pain down the side of my leg. And so I put the kettlebell down and thought, maybe that's too heavy for today. And I'll just go lighter. So I grab a lighter one and try. I couldn't move the lighter one. And then coach comes by and she's like, I love my coach. She says, why are you holding still? And I said, I don't know, something's up with my leg. And she's like, get moving. I said, okay. And I thought, maybe I can't do the kettlebell swings. I'll go ride on the bike while everyone else is working out. And I went to go on the bike, but I couldn't sit. Like when I tried to sit, this pain just got outrageous. So I tried to jump rope after that, which was probably the worst thing I could have done. I'm just looking for anything, thinking how weird my body's not cooperating. And from there, walked around the gym for a while. I was almost in tears. This pain just kept getting worse and worse. And eventually just went to have a little upstairs area, went upstairs and laid down. And at the end of the workout, coach came up and a guy who's a nurse. We have a lot of medical people that work out with us. This nurse came up and he said, what are the symptoms? And I told him, I said, I can't even stand. I don't know what's going on. And he said, well, you might have a bulging disc in your back pushing on a nerve. So I'm going to get you some ibuprofen. Just go home, take it easy for a few days, and then you should be okay. So I did that, went home with my ibuprofen, laid down, and didn't get up again for a week and a half. Like I was telling a friend this morning, I couldn't take a shit. Like I couldn't stand long enough to pee. I couldn't sit down. So I just stopped eating and drinking to take care of that problem. And
go there first.
Which seemed like a natural solution at the time. Like looking back, I realized how clouded my thinking was because this pain, there was no way to make it stop. So it was 24/7, just a consistent pain level that I would be okay if it was, if you sprain an ankle and you can, it hurts for a bit, you can put your foot up and it starts to get better. I ended up on ibuprofen, opiate painkillers, marijuana, and icing, and it didn't even make a dent in what I was feeling. So after a week and a half, I finally just broke down and called my dad, and I said, I got to go to the hospital. Like, I don't know what it is, but I can't handle this level anymore. So he takes me in, and we end up through a long process, do an MRI, find out I've ruptured a disc in my back. The neurosurgeon said, I've never seen one this bad before, which was really validating to find out.
Because you're the best at everything.
Yeah, I was. I won that. I was telling the doctor, I'm going to do a post on all the things that I've been told I said while on morphine in the hospital. They're pretty great. So, they came back after this MRI and said, we got to operate as soon as possible. Like this nerve is totally impinged and this thing is bad. And that later that day I was in surgery, and surgery was 3 weeks ago, and I have had zero. The most I've done since then is walking. I can walk and drive again. Just saw the doctor yesterday and got the all clear to start doing some more movement. But I went from a guy who was ranked in this tough sport in the world to within that 2 weeks, I'd lost 9 pounds of muscle, gained 3% body fat. Like my body's quickly starting to shift, and working was out of the question because when I was in pain, I couldn't think clearly enough to even have a conversation. I had to cancel everything. Couldn't go work in my other business, which is a supplement store that I own. So like my staff are covering all the shifts I would normally take over there for me. And then after the surgery, now I'm on heavy pain meds. So I can't now I'm just high all the time, still can't work. And it was just nutty. So almost a full month of me being totally out of commission when I'm used to working at least 6 days a week, so mostly 7 days a week. So I just love what I do. I'm just always active. And then from that to a 180 of literally on a couch, not able to think clearly, and being waited on by everybody. My mom drove to town.
People helping you, surrendering to that.
Yeah. Felt like a little kid again.
So the question I have, let's take it all the way back.
Okay.
So 1 minute you're Superman.
Yeah.
Next minute, kryptonite.
Yeah.
And so I know that you're already prepared, like you're a mindset guy. I interviewed another mutual friend of ours who has been, has a PhD in meditation. And when his tragedy hit, he was already a mindset guy. But when your identity got ripped from you that moment and you were just down and flat, what was that like for you? Did you go down into the gutter?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'm recently divorced, so I'm fine. I was seeing this new woman. She's great, but I came into that relationship as a guy who's kind of this, in his own mind, this powerhouse. Like, I own 2 businesses, I make good money, I do this CrossFit thing, I look amazing, I'm, high energy. And now she's like, I was just thinking, she's not going to want to be with me anymore because I'm now slowly getting fat and laying around and can't do anything active, not able to go out because physically and then financially feeling scared to spend anything. During this time, there's other factors that have happened in my supplement business where it's not doing well financially. We're down $7,000 a month in profit, which means I'm not able to pay rent. Or the bills aren't getting paid there. Like, that looks like it's on very shaky ground. And so it was a forced surrender. For the first time in my life, I couldn't control what was going on. And I've never felt so helpless. Like, it was just, I don't really have the words for it, but to go from being a guy who's absolutely in control to a guy who all the things that, like you said, that I used to build up my identity, being a coach, making money, owning these businesses, having this body that can do these things, all of that's gone. And really having to sit and just be, when the pain part was almost easier, because when I was in so much pain, it was just survive from 1 minute to the next. Just don't go insane. Like, just take care of the next thing. And then once the pain was gone, but I still can't move or do anything, that was the hardest part after the surgery. Because I don't know what's waiting for me in terms of medical bills. I don't know how that's going to play out.
That's probably going to be like another round of constraint, another round of, because I was in the hospital last year for 9 days, and after I got out and after the initial survival, then the bills started coming, and that was another round of, which is the first step in when people hit an obstacle, a constraint, something like that, is the natural victim. Like, oh my God, this is too much for me. What happened? This was my identity. And then to break that cycle, what did you do to break that cycle because I remember you were in the hospital, you were on meds, and we're talking because you were on camera and you said, I am going to make this the best time of my life. I'm like, too soon, totally too soon, but I know who he is. I believe him. How did you they call it break path in the book. How did you change that mindset over from victim and really fear to now I'm going to do something with this?
Yeah, when I was, the first thing I had to do was when I was hurting and couldn't work. I had a rule for myself from back in my insurance days that was, if I'm going to take one action every day that can move me forward. So I'd have these little windows where I was pain-free for maybe 30 minutes. If I could time the drugs properly, there was a time when I would lose the pain but still be lucid. And during that time, I would write one email. So I would reach out to somebody and just say, hey, just checking in. I want like an old client or someone I'd talked to in the past. And I would do that. And I knew if I could just stay focused enough to do that one thing, my business would
stuck to a practice that you had, a value that action. You had.
I didn't have to feel good about it. I didn't have to have affirmations to talk myself up into it. I just made myself a rule the minute I got hurt that I'm gonna do one thing every day. And if that's all I do, that's okay. But it took away the emotional need to like feel good about where I'm going to be or talk positively about it. And so that was the first step, was to make that piece happen. So that way I knew I was still doing something that was moving me forward, because I didn't want to lose all momentum. And that I knew that would be key. If I could keep some momentum going, then I could have something to build on.
So the actions actually help the mindset.
They do, right. Exactly. Because I knew I was still being productive, even if it was just a fraction of what I would normally be up to. So I had that piece. And then after the surgery, there's something about just all that energy that was going towards just surviving, when I woke up from when I came out of surgery and became conscious again, the pain was so much less. I just had all this energy that had been focused on just getting me somewhere. It came back to me, but I couldn't use it like I normally would, which is to exercise and do all these physical things. And I just made a decision then that the energy is neutral. It doesn't have a place that it has to go. So I'm just going to channel it. Instead of channeling it into exercise, I'm going to channel it into my business. So now I looked at my life and I said, I have all this extra energy because I'm not working out every day. So I've got all this antsiness that needs to go somewhere. And I've got an extra 2.5 hours every morning that I'm not in the gym. I'm going to focus all of that. And instead of working on PRing lifts or hitting new records there, I'm going to hit a PR in terms of how much money I make this year.
So in the diagram, and I love that you're tracking with this and you don't even know anything about it.
No.
But the next step here is you ask propelling questions. And the propelling questions are, what's going to move you forward? So I hear your question was I now have my energy back.
Yeah.
But I can't put my energy into the things that I was doing.
Yeah.
But the propelling question is, what can I put my energy into, and what will I enjoy and really feel good about putting my energy
That's exactly it. Like I get chills as you say that. That's exactly what my thinking was. This energy is here. I mean, it's either going to go internal and become self-destructive, or I can put it into something outside of me. Exercise is no longer an option. Okay, what other avenues are there? And my practice, my business was the avenue that was open to me, that would feel good, and I could pour it all into that and get great results. And I said, this is going to be a year where I just make a shitload of money because I have so much free time and energy to put into it. I'm going to do that.
Beautiful. So I watched you move, on Facebook, because I love it. We all do everything public. I mean, people have to see what I put in my shake.
Yeah.
The world needs to know what I put in my shake.
Yes.
So what you had to do, like this morning, I had a meeting at 7:00 in the morning, and I needed a ride because I can't drive, and I wrote an email to everybody, and I said, I can Uber, but I'm a coach. Ask for help, Mark.
Yeah.
No. So I sent an email out saying, if anybody's driving right by my house, would you mind picking me up? 6 people.
Yeah.
Mark, I got you. I'm like, whoa, no, good. I'm good. And I'm like, oh my God. So creating, if you move through the circle, the next thing is creating abundance. What's there for you that you didn't have? And I noticed that you had people helping you move.
Yes.
You told me that you had to ask your mom for like a glass of water, or can you off the shelf and all that.
Yeah.
Tell me about how did you take stock of the inventory of what you actually had and the resources that you had?
That was really, like you said, it was a surrender for me of not being the guy that can do it. It was an acceptance of help. There was so much help available that I just don't take. I'm dating this new woman that doesn't, like I said, she knew me as one guy. Now I'm laid up. So asking her for help, she kept offering, and it was on me to just say, could you please go grocery shopping for me? And then once she did and comes home, now could you please cook the food that you just bought?
And how was that for you? How was that for you to ask?
It's never, like I said, I felt like a child. I've never had to do that. I don't remember. I'm not conscious of the last time I was dependent on someone else to feed me. It was that intense. And then having my mother come down and live with me and take care of me and my kids and pay for these movers and then help coordinate. Or even just 2 days ago, I wanted to get a couch in this new place from my ex's house. And so her and the neighbor are like moving this couch over, and I'm just standing around helplessly, like walking up the stairs in front of them, like just to make sure everything's clear, but I can't move anything if it isn't clear. And I just kind of hover about, and I can't do anything with it. So
my big thing is a glass of water. So like I can't carry a glass of water anywhere. I'm like, there's nothing wrong. Just my foot. But for some reason I can't get, and I'm like, John, my partner, can you just bring a glass of water upstairs for me? I'm really sorry. This is pathetic. But then you found that people were actually,
they were excited. Yeah. They were excited to help. And when I wouldn't ask for help, they'd get mad at me. When I would do things on my own, I would get in trouble, which was really funny. So for me, it's been this beautiful practice of just accepting. Like I have no problem giving help. I love to do that. But to sit back and receive and just all to be able to give in return as a thank you has been really good. I think it's a good practice for me. And and letting go of some other things besides the help. The abundance came from recognizing things in my life that I probably would not have been able to let go of or give up had this not happened. And by dropping a few things, I've ended up, like I said, all that extra energy that now can go towards my business is probably, and looking at it now, exactly what needed to happen. But I would not have been able to make that shift to allow that in without this injury forcing me to stop. And I mean, even little, like probably for you, little tiny things in life that I take for granted are now a big success when I can do them. You know, I can wash my body. I can dress myself. I'm here alone right now. You know, I couldn't have been alone for very long before. That's having all that, recognizing all that, like there is this abundance, and it's slowing me down enough to where the time that I do have has to be so focused because I had so little time that was productive. I've got to use it for something. And so it's allowing me to create a lot that I wouldn't have been creating otherwise. If I was healthy right now, I wouldn't have the clients lined up and the opportunities lined up that I do because I wouldn't have slowed down enough to see it and make it happen.
So now you're moving right into so where's the springboard? So you would have been in the gym a certain number of hours. You've been looking, you would have been looking in the mirror a certain number of hours.
Yeah.
Right. And all that. Oh, that was my little dig, but you missed it.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm jealous because I have one leg that looks like a 25-year-old stud, and I have another leg that looks like an 80-year-old in a nursing home, and I just can't figure this one out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you tell me list, because we're early. And you do things fast, so you move through things fast. But so you agreed to talk to me 6 months from now, like what because there's gonna be things. Deeper spiritual things and more profound stuff to talk about months from now. But now, what are the things that you have now that had this not happened, you wouldn't have gotten?
What do I have now? I'm single again. So the relationship that I was in ended partly because of all this stress and everything going on here. So I still feel like, even just Tuesday of this week, I was talking to a friend. I'm just in tears on the phone because I feel like life has continued to fall apart. So even in the last couple of days. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So it's that this relationship ended. My business has not been able to pay rent for June because we are now paying extra money to employees. And like I said, it's a franchise. And so at the corporate level, they made some changes. They went bankrupt. It's been tough it's hard for us to make money at this point. So I'm looking at a business going, well, shit, there's no money there. In fact, it's negative. I'm about to put another $3,000 into the business just to float it for a month. So I really was hitting bottom. And again, leveraging this stuff, I said, I can either sit here and just spiral out of control. And like I said, I was just sitting in this chair, just crying, not sure what to do. I'm alone. I have a business that's failing. I still haven't gotten my coaching business back where I want it. What can I do? I can help people. Like if I help people, I can't be upset. You can't be upset and helping someone at the same time. So I threw myself as a distraction into just massive, finding people to serve, from old contacts to people online to just anything I could think of.
Can I slow you down there? Because there's a big distinction there for me. It's, it's not stuffing the feelings because you cried on the phone with a friend.
Yeah.
You allowed yourself to be broken for a while. And then you said, now what do I do? Rather than going, I'm not going to feel that. I'm going to go help someone, because then you can't help anybody because you have the whole thing. But you said, I got this. I'm human. Yeah. And then you said, now how can I alchemize this? Or if I'm in this hole, how do I get out? And how I get out is through service. Yeah. I love that distinction of suppressing something or feeling it.
Yeah, totally.
Moving on. So go on, keep going.
Well, just by doing that process, not only have I started to create again, it happens so fast when you dive into service. Not only have I created, I think, 4 intake sessions with potential clients over the last 2 days, with more on the horizon, but I also that time by kind of taking my focus off of what was stressing me out and just letting time go. I think that's a big piece I'm learning is a lot of this is just, again, surrendering to things work out. And what that means is yesterday I got a call from my business partner and he said, Dave, totally random, we may have someone who wants to buy this failing business from us and they want to pay more than we paid for it, which means I could walk away with $20,000 or $30,000 in my pocket, whereas before I was planning how to go bankrupt. Is, just to have that flip with me doing nothing except just being present and being open to what's happening. Then I talked to my lawyer about the business, find out we're actually in a great position in terms of the lease and in terms of how we acquired the company. He goes, you could probably just walk away from this whole thing and no one could come after you. I didn't realize that was even an option. And I didn't do anything to manifest this except sit back and do my good work and allow the rest of my life to just keep rolling and let it work itself out. So there was a big piece there of me learning to just surrender what I can't control, focus on what I can, and allowing life to kind of support me in that way and come through and allow things to happen that I could not have planned or made happen or were even on my radar are now showing up. And they're showing up because I could have fucked the whole thing up if I tried too hard, if I had gone hard and been driven of like, I might be down a path in terms of this, my coaching business or my other business or whatever that I can't come back from. But because I couldn't take action and was willing to just stop and hold still for a second and slow down, things have come up that I couldn't have imagined. They're all so good. So I've taken a failing business that might now turn into a profitable ending of a venture and selling off of that. My coaching practice, by taking these really painful emotions from the breakup and the pain and the no exercise and the stress of the other business, take all of that and say, if I'm going to feel these things, then this is all emotional energy. I'm going to put it into serving someone. That has been creating clients. So it's been, life keeps throwing me more and more curveballs. I'm kind of ready for it to be done. It's exhausting, but to take that energy and just keep turning it into something different is such a great lesson for me. Because
that's so beautiful. So you, like I said, you said you would speak to me in the future, but for now,
yeah,
because you're so present in the middle of it, and because you're so adept at analyzing what's happening. Let's say someone else, it's what you hit. Whatever it is that they get fired from the job that is their identity, or they get hurt and they can't do it, or like a professional athlete, gets hurt and can't be part of that. Give me 1, 2, 3, 4 steps or whatever you would say. What would you say to do to get through to a better mindset?
The first thing, I actually got a client who's going through this right now, where the guy hired me because he's kind of on the edge with his business. We've been slowly building him up, but then in 1 week he broke a tooth and got in a car accident. So he's saying, I have all these bills to pay. I have a mouth that hurts and a car that doesn't move. And he's in sales, so if you can't talk or be up in sales, that's a tough spot to be. So one thing that him and I did a lot of work on was looking at, okay, this is your new reality. I said, how upset do you get when it's raining outside and you wanted to go out for a walk? You just go, oh shit, it's raining out. I guess I can't go walk today. But we don't go down. We don't go deep into it. I said, it's just, this is a change in the weather. Like, your reality has changed. Cool. So there's nothing you did to make this happen. And now we can't change it, just like the weather. So given this new reality, what do you want to create now?
When you argue with reality, you only lose 100% of the time, as Byron Katie says, right? Exactly. So now what's next?
So I wanted to change his perspective, because when it's an emotional thing for somebody else, and I run into this a lot in myself, when it's an emotional, woe is me, why is this happening to me? It's like we're playing such a victim role. It's natural to. But then I'd want to say, cool, so this is the new reality I live in. Given that, what do I want to create? So I just accept it like I accept the weather. And once you can do that, then it puts me back in a position where I'm in control and I'm powerful again, versus being powerless and a victim of what's happening. Because once I'm back in control, now I can make decisions. And so for this guy, I said, cool, once we got him to recognize this is just life, this is what's happened, nothing to be done. Now, where do you want to go? He tells me. Now, how do you want to get there? And he needs to get there through selling more and continuing to keep that. And I said, I gave him the same rule I have, one thing a day. And so every day for the last couple of days, he sends me a message on Facebook Messenger and says, this is the one person I reached out to, and this is the one action I took outside of that to grow my business.
Love it.
And he's not at a point where he's excited about this. He doesn't see a bright future. And what I keep telling him is, this is not a linear process. You're going to keep doing that one thing every day, and suddenly you're going to have a big jump. Suddenly stuff comes through like you wouldn't believe, but it's not a tit for tat. And so there's part of just giving yourself up to the process of, whether it's whatever's happening in my life, if I can make myself do one thing each day to grow myself and my business and get where I want to go, it's like compound interest. Eventually you get this huge return on that. And that's oftentimes all we can do. And he keeps saying, I know I should be doing more. And I said, can you? He goes, no. Okay, great.
Yeah, there you go.
Then you shouldn't be, because you can't. So this is what you can do. You're doing it. This will work. That's the hardest part, I think, to tell others is it's not, I don't want to tell them just trust the process, because I never trusted the process. When Chandler would say these things to me, just keep moving forward, stay the path. I'm like, that's cute, but I need to make money today. And
you may make tons of money and write books all about that, but
yeah, right. So I thought it was a neat idea, but this has forced me to walk that path, and I'm seeing the payout from it, which is incredible.
Beautiful. So the last piece in this puzzle is motivation. Like,
Okay.
how do you, for businesses, how do you motivate your team if you've hit a challenge? But how do you motivate yourself? So the question I have for you is, what are you most looking forward to? And I don't mean walking and being able to, but what are you most looking forward to in your life now that the course, your life was going like this and it went, now a year or two from now, what are you looking forward to?
So I keep every year I do this I journal in this thing, and I write down my future vision. And anyone who wants to reach out, or I can get it to you. It's a little exercise where you write a letter from the future. So I say, I am so grateful for this last year, because in this last year, my business did X, Y, and Z. In this last year, my relationships. So what's cool is it's a reverse engineering kind of, rather than goal setting a goal for the future. What I do is I write out, like it's already happened, what my life looks like a year from now. And then each day I get up and I read about how cool my life is next year. And then that I think about, okay, so that guy who created all this, what would that guy do in this moment? And then I just live as that person every day. So I'm like, what would that guy do? And I just start doing that. So, okay, so that guy had some shitty things happen. Now, what would that person do given that situation? And I'm so good at playing characters. Like, I'm not good at just being me and being successful. So I create other people to be and live as, and I live as those people who are really successful. And then the cool thing is I still get all the goodies that person would get without actually having to try and do this deep internal transformation of me. And what ends up happening is living as that person ends up being way more fun than living as the sad sap that I would be otherwise. So
this is all made up anyway. So
I just live as this guy. I live as this successful guy all the time. And then it's just fun.
So at the end of Iron Man, Tony Stark figures out that it's not the suit that is Iron Man, that he's Iron Man. And when I'm finding out that Superman, and you're finding out, and you'll probably find out more over time, is that everything that went into the physical piece is in the existence.
I guess to answer your question clearly, what I'm looking forward to is finishing a transformation I've been working on for a long time, which is letting go of the physical. Like, I put so much of my ego into how I look and so much of my self-worth into how I look. That has been taken away from me. Not completely, but it's hard to tell people about it because they go, you still look, we can't tell a difference. And I say, but I see a massive difference when I look in the mirror. And in terms of what I can do, it's a massive difference. So now that that's taken away, what I'm looking forward to is talking to you or 2 years, 5 years down the road, and all of my self-worth being sourced from within, and all of that power from within. If I get back in the shape I was, having that be like something I don't even notice. And that's been a project I've been trying to do. This year was great around that. I did better in competition this year and cared less about how I did than ever before. So I started to recognize how that works. When I give up the need and the sourcing of who I am from how I perform, all of a sudden I perform better. So in my business and life, I want to let that go even more and just come from within, have who I am be where I source everything. So really, that's my practice now is the inside piece, and I'm already seeing it pay dividends. But yeah, even sitting here talking about it, like, there's part of me that's scared right now of losing all this and not knowing if I'm going to get it back or not. I want to be able to come to this without that fear, because that energy that's going into being scared, if I could turn that energy into, again, building myself and building my business, I'd be unstoppable. So that's the next place for me to get to.
I would venture to say that you're already unstoppable.
Yes, it doesn't feel like it. I want to feel it, right?
When I crawl to the top of my stairs, which I do like 8 times a day, I get to the top of the stairs and I'm like, fuck this. I can't. And my scooter is like a couple feet away and I have to lift. And I'm like, all right, Mel Robbins, my spirit animals, I carry with you. 5, 4, 3, 2, get on the scooter, go do what you need to do. I mean, all day, every day. So this is beautiful. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. This fits into kind of the next phase of my career, which is resiliency. So, I'm quite a bit older than you. So I love working with people who are in their 40s and their 50s because this happens over and over and over again. I can tell you about the time that I had epidurals in my back and I couldn't walk. The time I got my appendix burst. Now this resiliency and the ability to keep coming back is what makes the difference, later on in life. And this beautiful constraint and going through this process, which you're doing naturally, is a way to look for a blueprint. So 6 months from now, you and I are going to have a conversation. Yeah. And then maybe we'll do this once a year for the next 20 years. Right. Until I look like I'm Chandler and I'm the guy coaching, and you're the 50-something-year-old guy. Dude, thank you so much for taking the time. Sure. So we will put your contact information in the comments. Thank you for spending time with me. You guys have been with me. You've done your marketing for today, Dave. My 3.5 viewers will get a lot out of it. No, but really, thank you for taking the time. You guys have been along with me on the journey. Put the diagram in the comments. We'll put Dave's information in the comments. If you know somebody who has hit a wall, hit some kind of a setback, and is figuring out how to use that as a springboard, I'd love to talk to them and do the same thing I did here with Dave. I thank you all, and I love you. Thank you, Dave. Have a great day.